Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's been a minute. We have missed you. It is Miss Motivational Mobile Mindset. How are you doing, Community Bricklayer Village? Thank you for joining us on our online talk radio and podcast station. We try to keep you in the loop, real talk, real time, and we try to get to you real soon. So we thank you today that you are taking out a few minutes of your time to get caught up in our weekly review and just so many things that's going on in the world. But we want to address some local interests and concerns, as well as go over some things that's on the horizon for nationally, that's on the horizon for people making change that's affecting families, things that are going on in the news that we see that is tearing families apart and things of that nature. So again, bricklayers, we welcome you here at Community Bricklayers Online Talk Radio and Podcast Station. Well, first off, we would like to go back to a post that was made on Community Bricklayers Facebook page in regards to trending topics. We were on June 11th, we were talking about keeping abreast of and mindful of the deplorable acts that is happening against young women across the world. We still want to keep that in the forefront of our brain, and we wanted to develop here at Community Bricklayers at one point a missing children, missing teens, missing girls, missing boys tree. For instance, locally, we'll get a lot of posts, or we'll see it in a timeline that there's some teens or young women that may have gone missing, or young men, and some of the ambassadors would update us. But we wanted to do our own Community Bricklayers update tree, such as all the news outlets, especially here in our local Delaware Online. They usually are good at, and some of the other news outlets are good at updating us and letting us know if those children have been found and or any other status update. So we here on Community Bricklayers, what we try to do and what we would desire to do is network with a bunch of people who would love to update these stories accordingly, because we can't be all hands on deck, but we definitely want to keep what's going on with our local babies as well as our nationwide children at the topic of our areas of concern and interests, because we have a lot of sex trafficking, people meeting up on the social media platforms, and these young women are meeting up with some of these guys that is totally not what they think it is, and they come up missing, come up murdered. So we want to put that in the forefront. We want to encourage their peers and encourage our children their age to run and tell that. Like, you tell everything else, we need to encourage them to run tell that. When you know you have a peer or a friend that is going to meet with people that they don't know, they have no clue of what the outcome is going to be. We want to give you all the good attention that you need, because not all attention is good attention. And we want to spread that to all of our youngsters. Not all attention is good attention. So we want to make that the onus of what it is that we develop a update tree for these missing teens and missing children locally. And we want to make sure that they know the onus is, don't go outside your network to try to get attention, or don't be starved in an area of your life where you feel like you can't talk to your parents, another guardian, family member, adult family member, someone who's equipped and mature to handle whatever it is that you're going through, that you feel alone. We don't want you going out here getting caught up with any old body and or snapping out on you and leaving you for dead. We don't want to continue to bury our young ones. We don't want to have to continue to console our families that are missing these children. So keep that in the forefront of your brain and share it with your youngsters, all the way from the ages of 6 to 9 to 12 to 13, doesn't matter. Share it with your youngsters that not all attention is good attention, and that we are here, that they can leave a comment. They're on the social media platforms already, always. That just give us an anonymous tip, give us an anonymous call, and we will make sure that we have wraparound services in place to come and meet and greet and hug on you and love on you and stir you in the right direction, away from harm and into the arms of good. Okay? Next on our agenda is the couple of weeks back, we went and did a sit-in on the Ending Structural Racism in Delaware, the role of the Attorney General Forum, which was great, was outstanding. And we encourage people to go over to the Delaware Racial Justice Collaborative link on Facebook and check out. It was streaming live, so I'm assuming that you can play it back. We just found out a wealth of knowledge. We met the 4 candidates. It was free to the public. But you must show an interest. You have to get yourself prepared and ready and steady for the voting that's going to take place in the near future. You can't go into these polls and just vote abracadabra boom. you're going to get that in return. Somebody in your generation and or generations to come will be affected by the laws and the local laws and the state laws that are being passed daily. You have to make an indentation on what it is that you stand for and why, who it is that you're voting for and why. We will continue to update you accordingly in regards to where it is that we're headed. They were all in a Democratic Party, but you have to listen to what they've stood for in the past, what their affiliations are, now, what they affiliate with themselves with in the future. You want to listen to the context and the tone of their conversation to see who it is that you should vote for. You want to listen to the heartfelt compassion and understanding and sensitivity of what is ailing our communities. You don't want to just take a stab at it and say, okay, I'll just do this one. No, you want to really, really, really listen. In a day and age that we're living in right now, you want to be articulate, you want to move strategically, and you want to use discernment and get enough understanding of who they are. This is the first form of many to come during the new voting season that's coming up. And we will keep you abreast of the dates in the voting for voting and the elections and all the things that are, if you're interested in the Democratic Party, the candidates that we met. So just keep yourself abreast. Go on over again to Delaware Racial Justice Collaborative on Facebook, or you can go to Community Bricklayers Online Talk Radio and Podcast Station Facebook page, and you will see on June 13th that we have posted the live streaming from that event. They did most of the work for us, y'all, so we're happy about that. Next, we wanted to delve into some of the outcries that's going on that's affecting many people around the world. Every class, every race of people. We were facing our own set of injustices, challenges, and burdens. And we're talking about these families that are being torn apart. What we here at Community Bricklayers feel like when we read these things over and over and over again, we feel like it's only a matter of time when it can be done, when it may or may not be done to you. They may change or pass a law that is so far-fetched, like we've seen, that will continue to divide the poor class, the working class, the socioeconomic disadvantaged people, and continue to put a burden on our families and our men in our families, separating them. And we want to just make sure we're ahead of the curve. And no matter what the race is, no matter what the class is, stripping babies and fathers and mothers and parents away from their children, taking them to unknown places. And even if they say they're holding them at a specific place, we don't know the conditions of that place. Could you put yourself in their shoes? Could you put yourself in that mindset? I can't even put myself in the mindset of a child that's being torn away from their parents, let alone teenagers that's going over there, young adults that's being murdered when they get there, whether it's Mexico, whether it's other areas of deportation. The problem is you're sending somebody and uprooting them to some places they have never been before. And it's just an injustice everywhere. So if we don't stand for something, then we're going to fall for anything. And if we're not part of the solution, then we're part of the problem. And that's a continual thing that you'll hear, a trending thing that you'll hear. That's a common theme. So we want to get ahead of the curve and really get our hands involved. And a part of that is there is a movement coming up on June 28th in Washington, D.C., in family detention. Women Take Action, June 28th, Thursday at 8 a.m. They're going to have the day before on June 27th, special training. You have to register. The link is on our Community Bricklayers Online Talk Radio and Podcast Station. You have to register. It is in D.C. However, there will be another one, June 30th. It's different. Families Belong Together. Attend a June 30th event. This means you can attend one. This means that you can have one in your area. You can join one of many protests around the country on June 30th. Families Belong Together. You want to join forces, join hands, and show that we're outraged by family separations. So you want to get into that and check out our Community Bricklayers Online Talk Radio and Podcast Station Facebook page so you can find out the dates, the registration process, and everything that it requires, so you can get the detailed information emailed to you as far as training, as far as assembling. And if you're going to the one in DC, they also have a link once you register to let you know about the legal, the attorneys that will be there to fight for your rights, just in case in the event you were arrested for nonviolent protesting. So you want to, they're arming everybody to be equipped, so they won't have to worry about anything going down that you won't be held, someone won't be held accountable for, and no one will forget you and leave you behind. Okay, last but not least, we wanted to talk about the Jessica's Law. It's in memory of Jessica Lunsford, who was abducted and sexually assaulted before being brutally murdered. The act was passed in Florida, which mandates a minimum sentence of 25 years and a maximum of life in prison for first-time child sex offenders. So you have to be mindful that this is first-time child sex offenders. They're not playing with these people. There was a few abductions in Delaware. Just think if some of these things would pass earlier, then this could prevent, if they would lock some of these people up that keep getting out on some of these low-end charges or keep getting out and reoffending. Have to keep our children close, but we also need to know our neighbors. We also need to know the resources. You can go to the DelawareState.org and pull up sexual offender registry. Parents have gone on that website, and it will highlight every area in your neighborhood and wherever zip code you put in, and see what it is that your children are riding down the streets. They're riding around corners unattended, unsupervised, and there's pedophiles or people with a sexual offense history in your neighborhood, in your backyard. And just previously working in the criminal justice system with some of this population, they call them non-rehabilitative. What they do is take them on a strenuous case management of their urgent needs or their compulsive reactors and triggers that make them go off and wander into their mind in that space where they want to go harm someone else that is less likely to be able to defend themselves, a child, or go around a school, the perverse thought process in their mind that makes them go around schools, ice cream trucks, parks, and take children, or watch them in the cul-de-sac of their own neighborhood and take children. And they want to get them mental health. They give them all kinds of extensive case management treatment. So this Jessica Law is helping us with first-time offenders getting minimum 25 years and a maximum of life in prison for first-time child sex offenders. It's something to take serious. It's not to be taken lightly. That means family members. That means anybody that wants to harm a child. They are now facing, in the state of Delaware, this law has been passed, and it is posted. The actual law and the synopsis and the voting is on our Community Bricklayers online talk radio and podcast station, but it has passed in the state of Delaware through the Delaware General Assembly. And on that note, we're going to continue to look at the breaking news in regards to families banding together about these children being deported and families being stripped down of their livelihood, of just a family structure. And we're going to come back to you with the march for next week. Keep abreast of everything, all things Community Bricklayers online talk radio and podcast station. We give you real talk, real time, real soon. So if there's ever an issue, if there's ever anything you need to bring to the bricklayer community, please, by all means, leave a message or leave a comment, and we will get in touch with you very quickly. And we also like to share. We like to be informed. So if there's something on the cuff that you know that we don't know about, share it to your Community Bricklayers Village, and we will also disseminate that information on our other platforms. Again, take care. God's peace and God's love to you. Until next time, real talk, real soon. We want to thank you for listening to Community Bricklayers online talk radio and podcast station. You have just been listening to our latest update in Weekly in Review. Please stay tuned to our Facebook and our Twitter pages of Community Bricklayers online talk radio and podcast station to keep abreast of the local things that's ever changing in our communities and our families, and the things that we want to share with you so that you can stay on board and stay tuned for all things Community Bricklayer Village. Until next time.